So THQ just revealed the brand new South Park game, Snow Day, coming 2024 to PS5, PC, Xbox, and apparently the Nintendo Switch, although that wasn't mentioned in the trailer. Now, the response to this game has already become pretty divisive, and that's because it's a pretty drastic departure from the Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole games that I just played through for the first time earlier this year. So, although I hate to say it, I am in the boat of people who are disappointed by this reveal. Do I think the game is gonna be bad? No, because we've barely seen anything. But I can already tell you, I don't think I'm gonna enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Stick of Truth or Fractured Butthole. We went from two very well-polished games in the show's art style that embraced the entire history of the franchise to a game in a slightly jarring 3D art style that's said to be a co-op multiplayer, and honestly, I'm getting major Fortnite vibes, which isn't inherently a bad thing, but as someone who wanted more of this, I can't exactly say I'm happy with that, but I'll keep an open mind. So let's run through some positives. I think putting this game around a snow day is genius. And in that regard, it is a natural evolution of the last two games. The narratives of Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole were built around the kids being divided into two warring factions, with a team up towards the end of the story. So it does check out that they would take this concept of whose side are you on and blow it up into a free-for-all. I think it also makes sense because the last two games were built around trends in pop culture. The fantasy craze with Stick of Truth, and the superhero craze with Fractured Butthole. Since then, the tides have shifted, but we really haven't had a next big thing like fantasy or superheroes. But in gaming, battle royales have become a big thing, so I get why South Park would make this pivot. And although I do prefer the 2D art style for the video games, and would have been down with something that looked like the theme song they've been using for the last few years, I like that, from what we've seen, they're still making a conscious effort to emulate the show's animation techniques, evident by the way Cartman talks and the way his body snaps into different poses. And although I'll miss the amount of love poured into the RPGs, with its in-depth exploration of the town, and various missions throughout the campaign incorporating different characters from throughout the series, I expect there will still be plenty of Easter eggs and callbacks through various items and maps. That being said, one thing I think we will lose from the RPGs is the ability to play as characters from the show. Although you're playing as the new kid in both Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole, as you progress through the story, you gain more characters in your party, which allowed us to play as Stan, Kyle, Cartman, Kenny, so on and so forth. But judging by this trailer, it looks like you'll be playing as your avatar against everyone else's avatars because, again, it's likely a battle royale. I wouldn't be surprised if the South Park cast proper ends up playing an NPC role in the game. But on the other hand, I could easily see them being added through skins that you can buy in the store or just unlock by gradually playing through matches. And although the game is called Snow Day, it doesn't look like you're gonna just be throwing snowballs at other players. These kids are clearly strapped with weapons. So although this won't be a direct sequel to Stick of Truth or Fractured Butthole, I would not be surprised if they borrow a lot of elements from those games, like the various weapons you can unlock. I think it would also be pretty cool if the superpowers returned, in the form of level ups you could snag on the map. Although this isn't the game I wanted, and I am gonna miss the old single player format, I can't deny that the game still looks pretty fun. Like, bro, I want to catapult off a shovel and dive headfirst into my enemies. I'll still probably put in a disgusting amount of hours into this game with my friends. And honestly, as long as the game is funny, I'm sure a lot of my grievances with this not being a third RPG will quickly subside. I really do wonder what other maps will look like in this game though. We see there's the town, and I imagine the school will make it in, but what about Tegrity Farms, Dick and Boss, or even something crazy like Canada or Imagination Land? I am really curious about the campaign because I imagine Matt and Trey wouldn't want to abandon a story mode entirely. The whole co-op multiplayer thing has just really thrown me off, and it really makes it hard to gauge if a story mode will actually be the main selling point of this game, because so far, it really doesn't seem to be. But let's say they put their best foot forward to make a compelling campaign mode. Suddenly, I'm really excited to explore this version of South Park, because the 3D environments would provide a brand new perspective that the last two RPGs just couldn't have. 2D is great, but when it comes to video games, it can be limiting because there's only so much that we can see. It is hard to gauge expectations because it's supposed to go to the Switch, and the longer the Switch has been around, the more modern games on there kind of feel like SpongeBob pushing Gary during the SNES snail race, it's kind of rough to watch. I also wonder if we're going to get an episode or Paramount Plus special that properly sets up this game, and if that's the case, when would that air? If the game releases early 2024, did it make sense that the next two specials could be built around it? Assuming those drop in the fall or winter like the post-COVID specials. If the game drops next summer or next winter, then I imagine the setup will go to the 2024 specials. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But that's just a rambling of all of my thoughts, and I would love to hear yours. How do you feel about Snow Day? How do you feel about this new art style? Is the fact that it's going on the Switch holding it back visually? Do you think this could surpass Stick of Truth and Fractured Butthole? Or are you hoping it just stands on its own, and those two games won't even be a thought while playing this? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Once we learn more about this game, I would love to do a video just rounding up all the info we have. But for now, I've been Ostrich Vox, and I hope you have a great day. See ya!